A lot of creative persons today talk about what creativity is, how creativity is amazing and all those extra things. But then please don't complicate things for yourself. Creativity is as simple as what you do every day, but then taking into account of the problems you solve. How you can create something from nothing to solve a problem. Think about it this way. Creativity entails two things: thinking, then producing. So you think, you brainstorm, you try to come up with ideas, and then after coming up with these ideas, you go ahead and create and execute. But then without execution, the very first process of thinking is as worthless as anything. So the main work is in the execution, because the thinking part might not be all that difficult, because some people are just naturally artistic or creative and all these other things. But creativity can actually be, it can be developed. Even though it is innate in every human, but it can be developed. So, to paraphrase a quote from Picasso, he says that creativity washes from the soul the dust of everyday life, which means every single day you can express creativity. So, now trying to link creativity to mindfulness, like I said at the very beginning, being mindful is not just about, a monk sitting down with two fingers up, doing all those meditation and all those extra things. Mindfulness is just a way to really carve out a state of being conscious and aware of something, a state of you being aware of yourself, of your environment, of the next person sitting beside you, of the way the birds are flying, or of the way something is happening. It's just you being aware. So it's a quality or state of being aware or being conscious of something. So how can you now connect creativity and mindfulness? Trust me, a lot of ideas that people develop, a lot of brainstorming sessions require you to have a still mind to be able to craft out the best of the best ideas. Even though at first it might not be your best ideas, but later on, after going over it again, meditating, thinking deeply about these things, it starts to develop into something much more, tangible. That you can now say, yes, I had an idea about this, but then later on it became this, it became that, and now it is something remarkable. So mindfulness connects deeply with creativity, because it's only in that calm state, in that state of awareness and mindfulness, that you can actually experience your innermost being as a creative. Now, don't get this wrong. Everybody is creative, but not everybody is a creative. Now, a creative is like a niche that has been carved out for people who love to, be by themselves, do creative work, think, gaze into thin air, and all those other things. Like, the entire world couldn't find any better name to call us than to call us creatives. It's quite interesting. There's some people that are called doctors, some people are called engineers, some people are called architects, and all those other things, civil servants and the rest. But then there's a group of persons who are trying to break the norm that then they're now carved out as creatives. You should be lucky, and you should feel special, because you are a part of this very vast generation that is growing and changing the way things are happening. Think about the past decade. Everything that's happened, that has been making waves in the entire world today, have been done by creatives. All these things have been done by creatives. So how much more you decide to really focus on that part of you and start to draw out creative ideas from yourself. Now, there are several types of ways people can actually think to come up with ideas. But then there is one called the divergent kind of thinking, and then the other part is called the convergent type of thinking. Now, I've done a couple of experiments in the past that really made me realize this, and the divergent type of thinking kind of shows a thought process or a method that you generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. But then the other part, which is convergent thinking, is like you're enhanced by your mindfulness. So you decide to really bring it from inside out, which is convergent. But then the divergent part is like you trying to solve it from outside in. So you see a problem and then you want to solve it. But then the other part is you discover that there's something within you, there's that passion you want to bring out, and then you bring it out of yourself. And you start to see how these two work together. You can't really separate them. You have to actually be able to exhibit both types of thinking, because if you spend your entire life trying to see if you can only be bringing things from inside out, what if you have a problem that is on the outside that you need to actually solve? So you need to be able to focus on this. And then, there are a couple of benefits of mindfulness, and one of such is that it kind of helps you build up a working memory. You have so much clarity of thoughts. You have so much of mental solitude and fortitude. Like, your brain begins to develop in a way that you feel like you're a genius by birth. Well, we're all geniuses, so let me say that. But, it kind of increases your level of happiness. You realize that every time you've been able to, sit down, reflect, think deep, reminisce, you realize that a lot of things inside of you is actually becoming a reality. Things are getting more interesting, things are getting clearer and better. And this is what this entire lifestyle of ours is all about. So I believe that mindfulness really helps us to enhance the happiness in us, to solve problems and actually clear out anxiety, stress, depression, all those feelings of exhaustion, you feeling like an imposter, creative block, and everything you can associate to creative issues. Being mindful can actually help you do that. And for me, one way I've been able to see mindfulness is by reading a book, listening to soothing music. I listen to a lot of lo-fi music, and it has really helped me a lot. So if you consider all these few things I've talked about, you realize that creatives, we experience so much of drawbacks, we experience so much of issues, we experience so much of things holding us down. So what happens when you don't express or explore your creative side?